Well, good evening, everyone. I'm glad you made it this evening. What a large crowd. All those smiling faces and everything. Huh? So welcome to April 21st, 2025, regular city council meeting. And would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Councilmember Dennehy.
Here.
Maloney.
Here.
Schmischer.
Here.
Stein.
Here.
Tracy.
Here.
Worthington.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Here.
Mayor Troutman.
Here. And could we have Alicia Swearingen of the Royal Guards Vineyard? Would you please rise?
Yeah, dear Heavenly Father, we are just so grateful for the city of Canyon City and the people who live here and serve here. Lord, I just want to pray particularly over our employees and city workers and officers and all those who serve in our community and their families. We just pray your blessing over them and your blessing over this meeting and this time together. Give us wisdom for the sake of the city of Canyon City. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you. So at this time, we have some people that would like to address council. And how it works, you come to the podium when I call your name, and I'd like to have your name, of course, and then we'll start a timer. And it's well, it's just like a stoplight. It's the green, the yellow, and the red, and that's 3 minutes. So the first one is Dorcas. Would you come up forward, please? And you'd like to talk about the public hazard on Main Street. I did get pictures, by the way.
My name is Dorcas White, 1108 Red Avenue.
Is that mic on?
Yes. No, it doesn't appear to be.
Maybe you could pull it a little. What? Is it on?
It is on? Okay.
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 Thank you.
On March the 24th, at approximately 1 p.m., as my husband assisted me out of our car on Main Street from the passenger side, I stepped into a hole cut into the parking place. Neither of us had seen it prior to my stepping into it and falling flat on my face. I had twisted my ankle, and that caused me to fall. I hit my face, the palms of my hands, my right thigh, both my arms hurt, and I was sore all over. We went ahead into the city hall to the water department. There was a woman at the clerk's office window. She had seen me fall. And the employee at the clerk's window said that she would contact someone about my accident and the hole in that parking place. It's a rectangular hole about 12 by 12, 3 inches deep. On April the 22nd, I began to have severe pain in my right arm. So I went to the emergency room, and I had a fractured arm in the elbow area, which is very common when people fall and put all their weight on their hands. On April the 2nd, I went to that was on April the 2nd, and they put me in a sling and a splint. But when I went to the orthopedic surgeon a week later, he said, he took the splint off. He said, if you don't get that off your arm, you're going to have an arm that will never work. So I have another appointment on the 5th of May to go back and see what we're going to do next with this arm. But I wanted you to know that I've driven past that area. It's catty corner from this building, and there not only is there one slot that has this hole in the parking lot, but there are 4 of those on Main Street. And I just can't bear to think of other people falling and going through the pain I'm going through. And I wanted you to know about it. Okay?
Well, thank you, Dorsey.
Yeah, I brought you a copy of my emergency room report, and some pictures of me with my black eye. I still have swelling in the knot over my head. Thank goodness I didn't get a concussion, but I knew you would want to know, and maybe you can get that fixed. If nothing else, if you can't fix, I don't know why you would cut holes in a parking lot, in parking spaces, but maybe if you could just paint around it with fluorescent paint or something, so people wouldn't step into them. Thank you.
Would you like to give that to Denise? Or Denise, can you get that?
Sure.
That information?
Mr. Mayor, my button's not working to, I don't know
Oh.
if anyone else's is.
Well, then you can't talk.
Well,
No, go ahead.
I did have, I didn't hear where that parking space was. I missed where she parked.
Out front, across the street from City Hall, on what appeared to
Across the
be,
street.
yeah. Right, it's across the street there where that hotel unit sort of is. Yeah, and where you would park before you could walk over here,
Okay.
so. Right? Okay, thank you. Any other questions from council? Who's Joni Newkirk?
Just one of our vendors.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Thanks. Are those still there? And if so, do we have a plan for filling them in or marking them or?
I don't know offhand if they're still there, but we can get them marked, absolutely.
Great, thank you. I realize that it may not be cost-effective to fill them in when we're about to transition to north side of Main Street work, but it does seem like it would be really great to have them marked sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Kathy Smith, Valley-wide Health Update. Hi, Kathy.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Smith, and I work at Valley-wide Health. I'm outreach support. Just wanted to give you an update on, we have a new provider, and her name is June Griffin. She's a nurse practitioner, and we are having an open house on the first Friday of this next month, May 2, from 6 to 8. And I have some of these flyers that I will leave here on the desk if anybody would like any. And just wanted to let you guys know. Thank you.
Where were you? You wouldn't put them on that desk back there?
I can put them back here,
Okay.
correct? Yeah,
All right.
okay.
Does everybody know where Valley-wide is? We used to call that the First National Bank building, right?
It's right on the corner of 6th and Main,
Yeah.
right across from Palace Drug.
Right.
Yeah.
You're looking at me. You know where that's at, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Aaron, where's Aaron? Come on down. Would like to talk about Main Street banners.
Hi, Aaron Maleko. I'm on the 300 block of Main and Macon. This will be up later in the agenda this evening regarding the Public Arts Committee Main Street banner design discussion and selection. And I just wanted to say that I was very involved with the big feather flag debates of 2024 and in all of those meetings. And I just felt like the business owners should have been involved in some of the design meetings for these banners that we're going to be talking about, because we weren't at all involved in what the memo says that we wanted, to help bring, people to be able to locate businesses downtown. I don't see how these designs do that at all, and it probably would have been good for businesses to be consulted about some of these designs before they got this far. We would have been happy to participate. So that's all I had.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks.
I have a comment. Aaron, our public arts committee meetings are open, and this is not, I mean, this is a process. So if you want input, or other businesses would like to come to those meetings, they're always open.
So was that on the agenda item that
Yes,
was
it
posted?
was. It's
It
been
said
on
that
the-
they were going
yes.
to discuss the
Yes.
banners?
Yep. It's
Because the
on.
only agenda that I see is just that they're going to have a meeting. It doesn't say what they're going to discuss for public arts. Am I
Well,
correct or not?
If you and other business folks want to come to the meeting and talk about this, they are open, and we encourage you to do that.
But like the city council meeting, we know ahead of time what's going to be discussed. Public Arts doesn't post what they're going to talk about. So we would have to just come to everyone to see if there's one that might interest us. So since we were supposedly the driving force behind this, it probably would have made more sense for one of them to reach out to some of us and invite us to those meetings, is all I'm saying.
Well, then, do we have your contact information so that we can do
I'm pretty sure
that?
everybody has my contact information. And Debbie Lakes and some of the other people that were involved with the feather flag meetings. Yes.
Aaron, those are listed, it's just under the packet information when he posts it all. I have to post it for
But we don't get the packet. We don't see the packet.
It's on, all of it's posted. All of it is posted on the website with the agenda. I just have to post before he comes up with it all, so we got it in as soon as he gets his information,
Okay.
and it goes as part of the packet. But it's all on the website.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Is it Cooper? Duggar? Cooper?
Yes, sir.
You were talking about a fundraiser.
Yes, sir.
Well, welcome.
Yes. I
Go
am
right
Cooper
ahead.
Duggar. I am from Canyon City Exploratory School. I think that's how you say it. Yeah. And I would like to talk about the Spirit Lab fundraiser. And basically, what the Spirit Lab fundraiser is a fundraiser where students in collective for their classes basically earn money, collect money from people and neighbors and friends and stuff like that, and all in support of the school and a new playground that the Littles want. When I mean Littles, I mean that's what the teachers call them, because I'm an 8th grader and they call us bigs, and it's kind of a habit. I'm sorry. Sorry for saying I'm so loud. It's so.
You're just fine. Go ahead.
The class that does show the most school spirit on Green and Gold Day, which is basically this Friday? No. On this Friday, the students for the Spirit Lab will run in circles for each class around the soccer field. And the person in each class that has the highest laps around the soccer field in the allotted time that they give us wins $10. Every $100 a student makes for their class or their school or anything for the fundraiser, they get to pie a teacher in the face. Which is funny, because that's my goal. Basically, what they're going to use the funds that they go towards for this is a new blacktop, which is basically an area that's not a playground, but is a playground, where it has like hopscotch and stuff in like Foursquare areas. Playground games. And basically a new basketball hoop for all the people that are in the school next year. I just want to tell anybody who is interested in donating to me, specifically, that I'm here. Please.
How
That's my time.
how would you they contact you if not tonight? How would you be contacted? Just at CES?
Well, if you do want to write a check or just pay in cash, you would drop it off at the school on one of the weekdays. If you want to pay a check, you can pay it to CES PTO, because that is where the money goes. Oh, yeah. If you are able to use it and have it, Venmo is an option. It's, yeah. My Venmo is Cooper-Duggar. That's it. Thank you for your time.
And
Money!
you realize that's most of Kathy's council pay.
$20?
So thank you. Yeah, she's a bit overpaid, but that's
Thank
all
you
right.
for the food for the next week. I appreciate it.
When's the date again?
This Friday.
This Friday.
All the money that people need to give me needs
And that's
to be in.
so you get paid by the number of laps you run around there.
No, you guys are not sponsoring me. You guys are the people who donate to me, not you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
thank you, Kathy. It's not per lap, but
Okay.
it is just to basically sponsor us, kind of.
Mm-hmm. So, because I was going to see if some of the council people want to come out and run laps.
Can? They can.
Oh wait. Yeah. Thank you.
She does.
You're way too accommodating. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Very good. Thank you, Cooper. Okay, this time that's it for the public. Any comments or announcements from council? Any updates? Kathy, is my?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to remind everybody that Friday is Arbor Day. So in addition, once you've finished doing your laps at the school, at 1 o'clock at Centennial Park, there will be a ceremony. There will be some tree plantings, and there will be some fifth graders there that will be handing out saplings to people that attend. So hope everybody can make it. Canyon City, we have been an Arbor Day city for over 40 years in a row. I think it's 45 years this year, and it's a great honor to do that. And we want to continue this on, so just wanted to remind people to please show up Friday at Centennial Park. Thank you.
What time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Okay. Emily.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to read a 3-page statement about concerns I have about what's going on in our country right now, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to read the 3 pages, other than to say I do have concerns, and I think we all need to pay attention to what's happening, make sure we maintain the rule of law in our country, and make sure we treat each other well, because if we start to lose some of those things, we've lost too much. So I just wanted to make mention of that, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in the agenda, but what's happening at the federal level is impacting us locally, even in terms of our own budget here at the city, so we'll touch on that a little bit later.
Thank you. Anyone else? Amy, go ahead.
Just a quick one. The library will be closed on Friday for staff training. As the city council liaison to that board, I always try to share that at these meetings. So appreciate our library director getting everybody out for staff training together and a little bit of bonding, but the library will be closed. Thanks.
I think the buttons are now working. I have a little console up here that if they push their button, their name comes up. And so far I've been able to deny them because they're not coming up. So it worked pretty well. So
I've been denied 5 times already.
Well, you're close. Okay, we have Vision Committee meeting Wednesday at 5 o'clock right here. In the Vision Committee meeting, we'll have a discussion from Dee Dee at Loaves and Fishes. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That should be interesting, stimulating. We'd invite you to come and hear what Loaves and Fishes is doing and have any questions for her or the staff. We'd appreciate you showing up. So it's right here in this building at 5 o'clock, and it's rather open and free-flowing. So welcome. Anyone else? Okay, I'm assuming that that's what these smiling young people are sitting here for. I have a proclamation for National Leadership Week. Look at those beautiful smiles, huh? So, I have the proclamation. Would you go ahead, Cindy?
We were lucky enough to have both the Florence Student Council members and the Canyon Student Council members here with us today. They got to be with us this afternoon and talk to council members and talk to staff members about what municipal government and municipal jobs are about. And we had a great time with them, and we hope we can continue to do this every year. And so we're really excited that they were able to join us.
Thank you, Kathy. The mayor didn't attend because I was trying to make a living to support my mayor habit. Never mind. Shall we? Would you like to introduce the person, or should I go ahead with the proclamation?
Go ahead with the proclamation.
Okay. Would you help me read this, because I'm in a wheezing condition here? This is a proclamation, and so whereas effective leadership is essential to the growth and prosperity of our community, and
Whereas student leaders are a positive influence on their peers, modeling good character and scholarship in and out of the classroom, and serve as change agents to improve the overall climate and academic performance levels of their schools, and
Whereas student leaders do not automatically develop sound leadership skills and require trained, dedicated faculty advisors to help them develop the essential traits and characteristics of a leader and to provide the positive experiences necessary to expand their skills and foster their paths to become effective leaders, and
Whereas recognizing and celebrating the contributions of leaders is vital to inspiring current and future generations, and
Whereas we commend and celebrate the outstanding leadership contributions of the Canyon City High School's Student Council.
now therefore I, Preston Troutman, Mayor of Canyon City, Colorado, on behalf of our community, do hereby proclaim April 22nd through the 26th, 2025 as National Leadership Week, and urge citizens to seek opportunities to recognize student leaders in our schools and support their training and activities as they prepare themselves for their future stations as leaders of our state, city, and nation. And that is dated today. And is there a leader involved? Cindy, go ahead.
Yes, we have Marcy Epperson here and Scott, and I'm not going to be able to say your last name. Wykowski. And then we have all the students, and we'd like him to come up and get a picture with you, please.
Well, that's just great. Come on up.
Up there? All the way through, yeah, just right through. Sorry, I'm kind of a barrier right here. See, if I had written your name, down like as many times as I've heard, I would have had it. We just call him Stud.
Stud, whatever.
You're going to have to scoot in. Act like you like each other and scoot in. Okay, face this way, please. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much, and thank you guys for being here today. I'll send you pictures. Marcy, I'll send them to you. I got them. Yeah, I'll send them. I'll get it to you in the morning. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
I do expect to see some of you up here in a leadership role for Canyon City and Fremont County. They're out of here. That's it. They're gone.
can you blame them?
I know what a teacher feels like now. Emily, did you talk already, or your name came up here? No, yeah. Now it's really. Oh, now it's putting everybody on here. This is great. It's Just keep going, right? Oh, well. So we have, invite the police chief. John, are you here? John Scheck, is this your spot?
It is, yes, sir.
The Canyon City High School Speech and Debate Team Recognition. Welcome back. We're glad you're here.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good to see you.
Good to see you all. Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for taking the time in your evening to help us, help the PD celebrate some remarkable young citizens. This evening, we bring forth the Canyon City High School Debate Team, a unique and invaluable asset to our community to be recognized. Every quarter, we look to celebrate conduct and/or achievement within our Student Spotlight recognition platform, and tonight is the Debate Team's night. High school debate teams are valuable to our community because they cultivate essential skills like critical thinking, communication, teamwork, which are all crucial for academic success as well as future careers. Debate provides a platform for students to engage in reasoned arguments, research diverse topics, and improve their public speaking abilities, fostering a very well-rounded educational experience. Our debate team had an outstanding season this school year, a testament to their dedication and hard work for sure. They competed in 15 tournaments, including a national circuit tournament in Austin, Texas. The team received a leading chapter award, and 3 students placed at an in-state 4A state tournament. Their achievements are not just a reflection of their hard work, but also a source of inspiration for all of us. Collectively, the team succeeded exceptionally well, embodying leadership qualities, strong communication, and integrity, setting a strong example for their peers and our community. If council permits me, just for posterity, I would like to read the names of the debate team members into the record, as some of the recipients could not be with us this evening.
Yes, please, go ahead.
All right. All right, as I call your names, if you don't mind just coming forward. Brianna Maddox, Kyler Davis, Aster Albertson, Andrea Adams, Nellie Termer, Kada Farmer, Rex Hansen, Kaylee Lambert, Landon Brow, Paige Nichols, Ace Costelny, Riley Moss, Elias Matalis, and Coach Brianna Scolari. Phenomenal job, guys. We've got challenge coins for each of you, and we made a plaque of your Student Spotlight Award. A big round of applause for our debate team.
I think we should have a picture again. I think we should. Yeah, let's do that. That's not. We're not debating that either. Okay.
Scrunch up. Scrunch up. Scrunch up.
Let's get everybody up here.
Great job, guys.
Emily, go
Yes.
ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to say something to the debate team members and coach and whoever else is involved. It's a great activity. About 2 centuries ago, I was on a high school debate team. And look where I am now. Yeah, I have to point out, though, it was before computers, so we used 3x5 cards, and we had to research everything in the card catalog in the library. So you guys must be doing much better than what we did back then. Congratulations.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you. Was that here in Canyon City? Okay. Well, thank you all. That is such a credit to our community and especially our schools. I'm very proud of our school system and all of you that participate, and we do expect you to come back here and take over the reins of this town. So thank you so much. And I guess when you're talking to your parents, you win all the debates, right? Sure. Thank you. See you next year. Okay. And now another exciting time, we would ask our Human Resources Director, Butch Batchelor, to come forward with some astounding employees.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, other council members, other distinguished participants at the dais. This seems to be the night of recognition, so we're going to continue on a little bit. As you know, the second meeting of every month, we recognize those employees who are going through a milestone of employment with the city. This evening, we have six such individuals. The first person to be recognized will be Amber Harding. Amber, if you'll come up. And Elijah, if you will accompany her. Amber was hired on April 20th, 2020 as an information technology technician. On April 30th, 2020, Amber was moved to Information Technology Technician 2, a position she continues to hold. Ma'am, this is for you. And as has been our custom, we ask the supervisor to come up and say a few words.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'm pleased to be here to recognize Amber for her dedication to public service and time spent with the city thus far. For the past 5 years, Amber has been a valuable member of our team, often working behind the scenes to make all the technology we utilize within the various departments of the city work. I know that she's very humble and even shy at times, but she definitely is deserving of the recognition this evening. Amber was hired on at the height of the COVID pandemic 5 years ago. That presented a unique challenge of its own to the IT department. We're working through figuring out remote work capabilities and enabling business continuity through that difficult and stressful time. Needless to say, I'm sure for Amber it was like drinking from a fire hose when she first came on board, but she took that in stride and really helped us get through it. Over the last 5 years, we've really kept up that pace in the IT department, and Amber has been instrumental in many projects and initiatives. She's developed a fantastic working relationship with different departments and staff members within the city and continues to be a huge asset not only for our department, but for the city as an organization. So I'd like to say, Amber, congratulations on hitting your 5-year mark with the city. Thank you for everything that you do. I'm proud to have you on our team, and I look forward to what you will accomplish with us in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. Our next recipient is Taylor Frazier. Taylor, if you and the chief could come up. Taylor was hired on April 27th, 2020 as a police officer in the Canyon City Police Department. Taylor carries the classification of senior police officer within the department. Sir? Thank you. Chief, I'm sure you have something you'd like to say.
Short and sweet. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I just wanted to add Mr. Fraser, an exemplary community and servant leader here in Canyon City. He demonstrates daily dedication, integrity, and professionalism to our community, and he waves that flag very, very tall every single day. He places a very strong emphasis on service excellence, and he doesn't always like to admit it, but he He exhibits great customer and citizen care, particularly with our younger citizens. If you go back just a short bit, when we had the pursuit that ran up on Skyline, Taylor was one of the first officers to help that young lady out of the vehicle, and he maintained a relationship with her thereafter, helping to put together a birthday celebration for her. So we're very fortunate to have Taylor on our team. He's an exemplary employee and a great person.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Our next individual or employee being recognized unfortunately couldn't be with us this evening. That's Mike Pilau. On April 12th, 2010, this is a 15-year award, I'm sorry. On April 12th, 2010, Mike was selected for the position of Geographic Information Systems, or GIS Specialist, a position he continues to hold. Our next recipient is Sean Rowe, and if Sean and Travis would join me, but you're going to need to walk slow because I got a lot to read. On April 28th, 2000, Sean was selected as a police officer trainee. On May 1st, 2001, Sean was advanced to police officer. On February 17th, 2003, Sean was advanced to police officer 2A. Then on March 2nd, 2013, Sean was selected for promotion to police corporal. On July 22nd, 2013, Sean changed his career focus and was selected for transfer to the water treatment plant as an operator trainee. On April 8th, 2014, Sean advanced to an operator D. On June 3rd, 2015, Sean completed his requirements for advancement to an operator C. On January 16th, 2016, Sean became an operator B, and on August 24th, 2016, he advanced to an operator A. On December 25th, 2021, Sean was selected to fill the position of water treatment plant supervisor. On September 3rd, 2024, Sean voluntarily reverted to an operator A with the water treatment plant, a position he currently holds. Sean? Sir? Thanks, sir. Travis? Oh.
Threw you a curveball, didn't I?
Oh, so we're going to double team?
Yeah.
All right.
As you all know, I'm with the police department, but I was asked to give just a little bit of a story on Sean. I started my career in 2001, not in Canyon City, but in Florence, and I can tell you that my time in working with Sean in that capacity, but also getting to know him as when I was a sheriff's deputy with Canyon City PD, and then finally we ended up working together for a very short period of time before he went to the water department. And I can tell you that Sean was one of the go-to guys that a lot of young officers went to because he was an outstanding police officer and a leader within the agency. And I'm really sad that he didn't stick around, but I learned a lot from him, and I'm grateful to be here to be able to recognize him today. So.
So Sean is a really fantastic person to work with. He's dedicated to his work. He takes his job at the water treatment plant very seriously. He's incredibly trustworthy with a high degree of ethics. He's one of those people that just does what he says he's going to do, which is really, really nice. He cares about what he does, and he can be trusted to do the job right. And I'm just really glad he came to the water treatment plant.
Thank you.
I got to stop following tall guys. So our next recognition is for Timothy Tim Hall. Unfortunately, Tim couldn't be here this evening. We're recognizing Tim for 30 years of service with the city. Tim was hired on April 1st, 1995 as a Mechanic 3. On June 20th, 1996, Tim was selected for advancement to Senior Mechanic. And on February 11th, 2019, Tim was selected for the position of Equipment Repair Shop Foreman, a position he continues to hold. Leo, do you want to? I know you want to.
Tall guy again. Thank you. Sorry Tim couldn't be here today. Tim is a great foreman, fantastic employee at the equipment repair shop. He has stepped up in a huge way since Jim Johnson left and taken on a lot of the duties that Jim used to do to make sure our fleet keeps running, that all our vehicles are on the road as much as they can be and are in good repair. So just like a lot of public works employees, he doesn't like the spotlight or want to be in the attention and would rather just be behind the scenes doing his job. So we thank him for that, and we definitely appreciate him.
Thank you, Leo.
And then our last employee being recognized this evening, again, Public Works guy, doesn't like recognition. So that's Bill Lennox. Bill was hired on April 9th, 1990, so he's being recognized for 35 years of service with the city for the position of Utility Worker 1. On January 8th, 92, Bill was advanced to Utility Worker 2, and on May 21st, 1996, Bill was advanced to Equipment Operator. On December 30th, 1997, Bill was advanced to Senior Equipment Operator, and on January 27th, 1990, Bill advanced to Lead Equipment Operator. On January 21st, 2017, Bill was selected for promotion to Street Crew Leader, and then on November 21st, 2016, Bill was selected as the Streets Field Supervisor, a position he currently holds. All right. So, Leo, you want to say a few words about Bill? See, here, I'll put it back up for you.
Yeah, Bill Lennox, like I said, one of the things I would say about Bill is I have never seen Bill in a bad mood. A guy that's worked here 35 years, that one of the many things he does is lead our concrete crew, which is a very hard, physically intensive job, day in, day out. So any concrete that the city pours probably has Bill's hand in it, and if you carve your initials in it, he will find you. So he does not appreciate that. But again, very hardworking, always happy, always willing to work with people type person. I can count on him for anything that I've ever had to ask him for, and greatly appreciate having him here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If I could get council to step down in front of the
Yes,
podium,
you
please.
can.
We'll have 3 of our employees who are being recognized this evening join you for a group picture. No, not me, you guys. No. Thank you very much, and to our awardees, congratulations.
That's always fun and exciting. The employees that are so loyal to our town and take such really good care of us, and we really appreciate that. So, we're going to go on to the consent agenda. And are there any, at this time, would you like to review the consent agenda?
Yes, sir. Thank you,
I knew
Mr. Mayor,
you
members
were
of council.
patiently waiting.
Item 8A is to approve the minutes for the regular city council meeting on April 7th, the general government meeting on April 9th, and the special meetings on March 28th for drinking water, March 31st also for drinking water. 8B is to authorize the mayor to sign a memorandum of agreement with the Colorado Department of Transportation for the Transportation Planning Region Administration. 8C authorizes the city administrator to sign a professional services agreement with Integrated Insight for the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park RFP consulting services in an amount not to exceed $31,000 plus travel. 8D authorizes the city administrator to sign an intergovernmental agreement with the Colorado Department of Transportation for the First Street Bridge rehabilitation. 8E awards bid 1825, new hatch for the 4 million gallon tank to Swedish Industrial Coatings in an amount not to exceed $40,000. 8F declares surplus property disposal and authorizes the disposal per city purchasing policy. 8G is to receive and file monthly budget summary, and 8H is to receive and file cash disbursements.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, then this time, any discussions or additions or corrections? Yes, Emily.
I guess I could either make this comment now in regard to 8G, which is the monthly budget summary, or we can address it when we get to the city administrator's report, because you do touch on it there too, and that is just the fact that our sales tax revenues are down significantly. And looking at the first 2 months of the year, January and February, I did a little math, and hopefully I did it right. And we budget conservatively. But just in our general fund sales tax, comparing budgeted numbers for January and February to the actual sales tax receipts for those 2 months, it was about 16% below our conservative budgeted amount. So I don't know if city administrator wants to touch on that now or during city administrator's report, to just talk about what that means for the city even this early in the year and things that have had to be adjusted.
Yeah, so, through the first couple of months of the year, we're state collected, so we only have the revenues so far through February, even though we're in April. What we're seeing is that downward trend. I've asked departments to start looking at their budgets on what can be put on hold and what can potentially be cut or put on the back burner. I know Public Works has identified some items that we'll be discussing as staff. We have put on hold new positions. A deputy city administrator was identified in the budget. We're not hiring for that position at this time. We also have the building plans examiner position. That position has also been put on hold. So we're continuing to look at those different things from an expense standpoint. From a revenue standpoint, we're also looking at ways to boost revenue. We have, with interest rates where they are, we have opportunities to earn more interest income on city dollars. So our finance department has been working towards trying to find the best return on the money that we have and still keeping us liquid. And then we are also hearing so far that the Royal Gorge Bridge revenue is up about 10% so far for this year.
Thanks. I think I'm glad that we're being so responsive to that, and I'm sure it's pretty difficult to know what all is contributing to that, or is it going to be a short-term issue or a longer-term issue. I assume that part of it, at least, is just that consumer confidence piece and the erratic nature of things that are going on at the federal level and with the stock market and so forth. So I guess it's a little hard to know what else we can do, but other than doing what we're doing now to make sure we stay within our revenue as it arrives.
Yeah, we're going to be, we're going to continue to monitor it very closely and take actions as we need. And I agree, consumer confidence is certainly kind of waning, and we're, seeing that, it's not just a Canyon City thing that's happening at the state and national level of consumer confidence and sales tax receipts down. There are some reports that March numbers may be up because of people going out and buying before the tariffs hit, and there's any number of things that can affect people's purchasing habits.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Amy.
Thank you. One additional comment on 8G and then a couple of questions on 8D. On 8G, could we please at a future council meeting after those staff conversations are over, kind of get the rundown on what y'all are planning or considering putting on hold? Obviously, it was part of the approved budget, so we'd like to, I think, have a little bit more fidelity, or at least I would, on what public works projects are going to be put on hold. And certainly, it's good to hear what you're planning with regard to future staffing, but that obviously also has impacts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. On 8D, I understand that the grant funding wouldn't allow for the widening of First Street. So if we could just learn a little bit more about what led to seeking this particular grant funding, whether or not you think that this is the right fit for what our community needs over the next 20 to 30 years, and kind of how these determinations have been made, that would be much appreciated.
I see Leo Evans, our Public Works Director, has come to the podium, and I'll ask Leo to give a rundown.
Yep. So this is an annual program that is administered through CDOT, the Colorado Municipal League, and the Colorado League of Councils. What's their title? CCL. They are the ones that actually select the project. So this is federal funding that is geared towards maintaining or improving the condition of existing bridges. It's very specific use for the funding. It's, as you mentioned, it doesn't allow for things like widening to add another sidewalk or making big expansions to bridges. It's really about maintaining our existing system and the condition of those bridges. So every other year, all of our bridges are inspected in the city. We get those inspection reports. We identify which bridges have needs, and then we apply for the grant funding based on that for this particular program. So First Street Bridge was our highest priority bridge of all of our 11 bridges that we as a city maintain.
And do you believe that the current width of the bridge will be adequate for what our city needs over the next 15 to 20 years? And is that why you elected to seek this grant funding?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, in terms of vehicle and pedestrian capacity, I would say the only thing it maybe runs short on is the ability to add a sidewalk on the west side of the bridge. There's an existing sidewalk on the east side that meets ADA standards. The multimodal master plan called for sharrows, which are just pavement markings on the street to share the lane with vehicles, so there's no additional width needed for that. So this should be a good fit for the next 20 years on that structure.
Great. And I think I understood from an earlier exchange that it would take about 3 to 4 months, but that you're looking at hopefully keeping traffic flowing on First Street or across the First Street Bridge if possible during that time period.
Yeah, I would say about a 3 to 4 month construction window, which we don't really even have a timeline for that yet. If the grant is accepted, we would then enter into engineering at some point later. I don't even believe we budgeted for engineering for this job because we didn't get the notice of award until January or February, so it would be well down the road.
Yeah,
Yes, 3 to 4 months, and then half-width construction is very feasible. I can't guarantee it's possible until the design's done, but putting a traffic signal up that lets cars go, 30 seconds one way, 30 seconds the other way is very possible.
Great.
Yeah, but a lot of these projects, especially when we receive the CDOT funding, we put them into the queue on the capital improvement list, and it could be years down the road before they're actually constructed.
No, understood. It's just a major thoroughfare for so many in our community. I want to make sure before we agree to spending quite a bit of local dollars, even though even more federal dollars would be spent, that we have an adequate plan. So it certainly sounds like that's the case. Appreciate the hard work that you've done on it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, John.
So I have a question on 8G, I guess it is, our monthly budget numbers. And it's on I've got it on, I believe this is electronic page 206. It's the first bar graph where we talk about the different motor vehicle tax collections. We've got a new column there, 2024, 2025 variants. And I was not sure what that was or what that was intended to show us.
I believe that was on the old graphs as well. That's just the variance between 25 collections versus the 2024 collections.
And then the budget variance is just the 25.
Yeah, the budget variance would be 2025 actuals versus budget.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. And the one other question on the consultant contract to help us get to an RFP for potential bidding out of the bridge. Can you bring us up to date on the timing of all that? I mean, it looks like that we had an initial idea, but we've changed and I understand it's just timing that we're changing. Is that correct?
Well, we haven't signed the contract yet, so this is the award of that contract. Rick, do you want to come up and talk through it?
Sure, and we have Joni Newkirk on the line too. She is the CEO of Integrated Insight. Yeah, we basically pushed this off for just less than a year, but our interviews with this company in particular made us realize that we were starting the process way too soon last year, and we would have kept people hanging on there for too long. So really just the timing of the entire contract has moved, but everything in it stays the same, if that helps.
So we expected a larger time frame to do the work, and now we're shrinking that and expect we can get it all done in that time
Yes,
frame.
initially we allowed too much time for the project, and we're not shrinking the job itself, we're just shrinking the time frame between this project and starting a new contractor, or a new contract.
The contract with the current operator expires October 31st of 2026. So this will give us time to go through the consultation process with Integrated Insight, put out the RFP for a decent amount of time for people to respond, and then go through a selection process and then negotiation of the contract, and whether or not that changes operators or not, time for them to set up operations.
Thank you.
Okay, Amy, did you have something?
Oh, I was just going to say, if my memory serves, City Administrator, I believe there was originally a thought that a year's notice had to be given to the current operator, and upon closer examination of the many, many amendments to that operating agreement, it was understood that we don't actually have to give a year's notice. So we originally thought that we had to give notice by October of this year, which is not actually the case, which is why originally these conversations we thought had to happen last year.
That is correct. The operator has to give us a year's notice, but it is not reciprocal.
Okay. Any further questions of Rick?
I was just going to, not necessarily a question, but more of a comment. Given what a significant chunk of change this brings to the city, and given that it is the city's kind of significant responsibility to ensure the maintenance and to ensure the future of this park, which is owned by the city, I think that this is a pretty small investment that we are making to get really important expertise on our team in drafting this request for proposals. We haven't bid this out since the 60s, so we need to make sure that we do it correctly and that we do it appropriately, and I'm just excited that we're making this kind of investment.
And for rest of council too, we received bids from 4 contractors. We interviewed 3 of them. The 4th one priced themselves out. All 3 of them that we interviewed were very good. Integrated Insights by far really nailed it, and we felt much more comfortable going with them than the other 2. The other 2 were good too, and actually they kind of all know each other, but we are very pleased to go with Integrated Insight.
Yeah, I have been here, I think I got here when they were starting to dig the Royal Gorge. But I've been here before, and this takes sort of what you call the good old boy network out of it. It takes all of us out of it, and that's a professional look at it, so that I would not want any inference of favoritism or anything else. And this does that job, in my opinion. So, Emily.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're seeing my light and I'm not. Okay.
You didn't push it?
I did, but it doesn't light up. So, Anyway, I'm glad that we're at this point in the process, and looking forward to hearing more. I know there's some information in our packet about how there will be discussions with council fairly early on. I think we probably all will look forward to being involved with the discussions about what all we want to make sure. In my mind, and not to go too far off on a tangent, but it's not just about attractions or new features or whatever at the gorge. It's really that holistic approach to the natural site and what else we can do up there. So I think we're all really looking forward to just seeing what's out there when we get the RFP going.
Any other questions of Rick? Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ryan. Any additions or corrections? Buddy? Then I would call for a motion and a second. Emily?
I move that we approve the consent agenda and agenda as presented.
Second.
Kathy, second. Thank you. Would you call the roll, please? Wait, is there any discussions on that? None? Go ahead.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
And at this point in the agenda, we're patiently waiting, looking forward to the administrator's report.
Well, Councilmember Worthington took my thunder talking about Arbor Day, so.
Oh, gee.
We do have the Arbor Day celebration coming up this Friday, 1 p.m. at Centennial Park, as mentioned previously. We had the trash vouchers, program that we were handing out. All of those have been claimed, so we don't have vouchers anymore. Again, another very successful program, and thank you to Denise and Deborah and our water billing department for handing all of those out and all the work that goes into that. You do have the written report. One other highlight there is Downtown Colorado Inc. will be hosting a small developer forum May 14th and 15th at the Hotel St. Cloud. We are bringing in a speaker with Downtown Colorado Inc. He speaks at a lot of their events. He will be doing a case study on the Hotel St. Cloud, and then we also have him coming in and talking to staff as well about what developers go through and the challenges that they face, and what it's like on the other side, so that staff can get that perspective as well.
Thank you, Ryan. Amy?
Thank you. Could we get updates on the East Main project? It appears that the road is once again blocked off, so I'm assuming that that means that work has begun on repairing the damaged water line. And then I've got one more question for you after that.
All right, I see Leo coming up. Yes, the Avalanche Excavating has started work on repairing the water line, and you may have more recent information than I do.
Yep, as of today, they did excavate all the way down on the east side and confirm kind of a worst case that the leak is inside of the casing, which is the deepest and hardest spot to get to, but we have been working with Miller Pipeline, and they've kind of suggested some alternative fix methods that we weren't familiar with that they deal with more in the pipeline industry, so we're kind of looking at those, and they're hopefully quicker and less intrusive and maybe don't require us to cut on the west side and all sorts of good things. So we're still, in any sense, I think we're about 2 weeks to 3 weeks away from having that repaired and back operational.
Thank you. That was my second question on East Main was the timeline, so thanks, 2 to 3 weeks out. Second question is on regular Main. I know in our last URA meeting, I had requested that we, as a city, reach out and ask the Main Street businesses who are in the impacted area how they're doing, and if there's anything more that council can do and that the city can do. Have those conversations happened? And if so, what measures are being taken to support our local Main Street businesses?
Yeah, I don't believe our economic staff has been able to get out there yet, but they're working on prioritizing that and getting out there.
Great. Just from my perspective, I mean, I see a couple of cars parking in New Method parking lot, but I'm wondering if we're able to put up signage there, if we can stripe it.
Oh, there were about a dozen there the other day. There's, yeah, it's been picking up.
If we can require our contractors who are working on the street to park there instead of parking in the very limited spots on Main Street. If any of those things might be able to be done in the near future.
So we did order signs. Our sign installer was on vacation for 2 weeks. He just came back, I think this week. So those are here and going to be installed this week. But yes, we can also talk about moving vehicle parking for our contractors as well, and make sure that's at the front of their mind.
Awesome, that would be great. And then lastly, just on that, do we have a sense of what the latest in terms of the timeline is?
As of our last progress meeting last Wednesday, they're still anticipating that they can get done right at Memorial Day. So it's going to be a lot, and it's going to be a rush at the end, but the weather's nice, and they've brought a lot more crews in as of late to get things done. So we'll pave this week, hopefully Wednesday, as long as the weather and things go well tomorrow, and then be flipping traffic and cutting out the north side of the road probably on Monday morning.
Okay. And then last question on this, how are we communicating kind of those weekly updates to the Main Street businesses that are impacted?
I think it's mostly been word of mouth between our staff on site and the contractors, informing them as things change and what the schedule is right now.
Okay. I'd be interested if there's a kind of more uniform way that we can get that information out to individuals whose livelihood is obviously impacted by the work that's being done. Whether there's an email blast that they could sign up for, or just if there are any other creative public information outlets that we can take advantage of.
Yeah, we can look at that. Have you started utilizing the website yet?
No, I have
No,
not.
okay.
We'll have to look at that. I know we looked at the email option, but I can't remember where we left that. I'll have to go pick that one up. But we did talk about getting that set up.
All right.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to 10. It's a discussion. Award bid 22-25, bucket truck in an amount not to exceed $85,000. Could we have the administrator report?
Yes, sir. This, again, this is a Leo item. We had budgeted for a bucket truck. However, you know, we've put it out to bid. The bids that we got back were for new bucket trucks, even though we specified used bucket trucks. You know, our purchasing policy isn't necessarily conducive to buying used vehicles. When they're available to be sold, people are going to sell them. And we're asking for council's approval to deviate from the normal purchasing policy of bidding an expenditure this large so that we can go out and try and find a used bucket truck. And, you know, we would still try and get comparables and quotes and things like that to the best of our ability, but really looking for that authorization to bypass the purchasing policy that really isn't working for us in this particular case. Leo, anything you would add to that?
No, I think you covered it well. Like I said, it's a piece of equipment we don't currently have, but we've identified that it would be pretty helpful for working on our signs and our elevated things, that we don't need the big high ranger that cuts trees for. This would replace one of the vehicles that was on the surplus list. It's a 1996 GMC pickup truck in the streets department. So, yeah, we didn't. The new prices exceeded, I believe, what we budgeted. All the bids we received were $130,000 to $170,000 for a new piece of equipment, and with it being something we've never had, we just don't see investing that kind of money in it until we prove that there's a good use for it and a good utilization for it day in, day out.
Kathy?
Would I be correct in assuming that you've reached out to the utilities that are around this area? Because they use especially electric utilities as far as using a lot of bucket trucks and perhaps them having one?
We have. I think most of them sell their old ones back to the dealerships. There's a couple of dealerships in the Denver, Commerce City area that sell a lot of the used bucket trucks. They just, like I said, with our purchasing policy the way it is, they chose not to bid or provide a bid for a used vehicle that they would hold for us and wait to see if we'd show up for it.
So this, we have, I've seen, is it different from the truck that trims trees?
Correct.
This is smaller?
Yes.
Okay. So this has kind of been on our bucket list for a while. Okay, that's done. I'm done. That's it. Okay. All kidding aside. All right. I didn't call for a motion in a second. Emily?
I have a motion, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Move that we authorize staff to expend an amount not to exceed $85,000 on the procurement of a bucket truck for the streets department.
Second.
Made and seconded. Would you like to add something, Amy? Your name come up, or?
Oh, I was going to make the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But
Okay.
now I'll ask who actually won that second. Two
What-
people said it at the same time, so who are you going to give it to?
I was looking at
Councilwoman Stein?
Councilwoman Stein.
Is there a point, is there a point system for making motions and seconding?
Yes. Way down, yeah. We're gonna put that on the bucket list. Okay,
No
any
bucket
discussion on that motion? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
Okay, thank you all. Underneath the discussion question again, discussions, we have B, which is the Public Arts Committee Main Street Banner Design Discussion and Selection. Who will be discussing that? Well, Ryan, or
Yeah,
you?
Ryan Leclerc has a presentation to run through with
Okay.
the various designs. This did go through the Public Art Committee, and I'll turn it over to Ryan for the presentation.
Good evening, council members and mayor. Thank you for having me here this evening. I don't get the opportunity to get up in front of council very often, but I do get the opportunity to speak to you individually pretty often, but get a little nervous for these things, so bear with me as we kind of work through this presentation. But I am the city liaison to the Public Art Committee, and tonight I'm here to present on a project that the Public Art Committee has been working on, a redesign of the Main Street banners for blocks 300 through 700. The redesign is a result of community feedback, committee collaboration, and an intentional effort to enhance both the appearance and wayfinding of our downtown corridor. So we'll move on to the next slide. So I guess the question is why redesign the Main Street banners? And the need for a redesign sort of emerged and came into view following 2024 conversations with council and city staff with the Main Street business community. We heard concerns mostly surrounding visibility, block identification, and delineation as they related to feather flags and that broader discussion. This sort of presented us at the Public Art Committee a unique opportunity to kind of take a look at our street pole banners and see if we could find sort of this complementary solution to the revised approach to feather flags in the Central Business District and on Main Street. The ultimate goal, I guess, sort of at the end of the day, was to improve both function and aesthetics, making downtown easier to navigate and more visually appealing for both residents and tourists alike. So what do the new banners sort of aim to do? And the new banners were developed with three primary goals in mind. One being enhance the visibility for both motorists and pedestrians, clearly communicate block numbers to support wayfinding, and present refreshed artistic style that reflects the unique character of downtown Canyon City. So during the sessions, and we called a special session specifically for street pole banner redesign, you know, it really was a collaborative effort between the art committee, and it was a really fun project actually for us to work on. We've been sort of kind of buried in a lot of administrative type duties, kind of putting the committee together in a way that kind of provides sustainability over time, and we really hadn't had the chance to really dig in and really work on a project. So I think we were all pretty happy to do so, to kind of work on something more art related as a committee. And you know, the project is a result of that collaboration. I'd say the main two drivers in the design of it were really two of our members of the Public Art Committee. One being Erica Happerkamp over at Dare Sign Company. She sort of has that background, sort of the design background, to be able to put things together digitally. And AJ Crowell, also a Public Art Committee, a local art professor at PCC and also an artist himself. He really kind of dedicated some and helped design some iconography that kind of drew on his artistic background. So together, along with the rest of the Public Art Committee, kind of created this design that is both functional, I think it's pretty beautiful, and sort of distinctly local. So kind of moving on to the slides, and I'll go through them each one just so you kind of get a better idea of what they are. But this is the 300 block banner. There's sort of there's a text box underneath, so it's kind of cut off a little bit, but you'll see the bear underneath there, clearly delineated, 300 at the top. And we did add the Canyon City Public Art logo in the middle there. Originally, this banner was actually purple, but after some talks with some folks who have a little bit more design experience than I do, we really wanted to make sure that it popped, and there was sort of this, I guess, a way for the icons to pop through, and the purple was really kind of blending all together. I think also the bear was chosen because on the 300 block, the old Moe's mural is located there, so we thought that would be kind of a nice touch on that particular banner. So moving on to the 400 block, Stegosaurus, we have lots of dinosaurs around town, kind of hearkening to our archaeological or our sort of dinosaur heritage here. We thought that would be a good design for that one. The yellow is also a bright popping design to kind of draw attention to those street pole banners. 500 block, nice shade of blue, a trout. That wasn't one of the original icons that we were planning on going with, but due to the proximity to the Arkansas River and the trout population here, we thought that would be a good icon to go ahead and use for that one. 600 block, we chose to go with the mountain lion, also a native species of animal around here. We certainly see mountain lions on people's Ring cameras and all sorts of stuff occasionally, so we thought that would also be a good one to use. And the bighorn sheep for 700 block. And here's a sort of broader view of all of them together. And then a rendering of potentially what they would look like on the street pole banners themselves. So on this slide here, we wanted, a conversation came up with Public Art Committee, and we wanted to design it with accessibility in mind. The color selections follow WCAG 2.1 AA standards. For sight impaired, but it's high contrast, bold black text on vibrant colors. The black silhouettes maintain visibility in all lighting, ensuring inclusivity for those with visual impairments. And we think that the design looks good. Not only that, but it also works for people that are sight impaired. Timeline and partnerships. Pending city council approval, we're ready to move forward, but we're also open to feedback from city council to make sure that we're on the right track. Once we determine on what design to go with, fabrication would begin right after approval. Installation would be coordinated in partnership with our Public Works department. And if council would like additional outreach or revisions to suggest, we're absolutely open to that for part of the process. Project cost and funding. This particular project is funded by the economic development budget. We estimate that the cost will come under $5,000. It covers design, fabrication, and installation of approximately 50 banners. So when we talk about 300 through 700 block, we're just talking about the light pole banners that face Main Street. It will not be the entirety of all the light pole banners. It will just be the ones facing Main Street in the number of about 50 of them. So moving forward, we kind of bring this to the discussion this evening. It will require council approval. Like I said, we are open to tweaks and changes and things like that as early as tomorrow evening, because our Public Art Committee meeting is tomorrow here at City Hall. So we can certainly work on those. But after final design is eventually settled on, we'll send out to a fabricator, and we will be reaching out to 3 local businesses to provide quotes for us to see who we'll go with. So, and at that point in time, we'll schedule coordination with Public Works for installation at that point. And would love to certainly hear your feedback.
Thanks. Thanks. It's helpful to see it this way. I just want to be sure I'm visualizing correctly. And you mentioned a minute ago about only the street facing.
Correct.
Whatever you. And so describe that a little bit more. Are some of the poles facing into the sidewalk and others face out to the street, or what does that look like?
No, with their current configuration, they're facing to the inside. So these were also some discussions that we had gotten into, because if you've seen the light pole banners, they have hanging baskets on them. So the baskets are to the outside.
okay.
Correct? Yeah, I believe they are. Leo, the baskets are to the outside.
Yeah.
And the banners are over the
okay.
sidewalk.
So it would switch then?
Yeah, well, we could potentially switch them, but we did have some of those discussions with Public Works. The only barrier that we would run into with switching them over are the hanging baskets do have extendable hosing on there that is used for the irrigation and the drip system. So we did take that into consideration, but it would require quite a bit of labor to switch that around or extend the hosing. We're not really sure until we get in there to kind of figure out what that looks like, but they can be switched around. They just have to be unbolted and kind of flipped back around. But I think the main thing is it takes a little bit more labor to do that per light pole.
And so is, it's roughly 10 per block for these 5 blocks, like 5 on each
Yep,
side? Roughly?
pretty much.
Okay, thanks.
Amy?
Thanks. First off, thanks so much to the Public Art Committee. It's clear that that your the joy in your collaboration on a more artistic endeavor really shines through, and really appreciate that we have such talented individuals in our community who are willing to serve in this way to bring more art to our downtown. That being said, I do think it's really important that we solicit input from the businesses on Main Street, and I really appreciated your slides and how clearly you do welcome additional input. I think both directly reaching out to maybe those individuals who are involved in the feather flag conversations to make sure that this does meet the needs that they identified from their perspective as what is necessary to ensure that folks, I think, venture to all parts of Main Street and kind of have the block identification and have that visibility, that it does meet the needs that they had outlined during those conversations. But then also kind of Main Street businesses more generally to make sure that we as a city are kind of extending that hand and kind of proactively being a partner with them. And from my perspective, I would want it to not just be about tweaks, but like this is our initial what we've come up with. What do you think? What are other options, or does this meet the need? So just my 2 cents, but certainly very much in support of this project, but think that it may just need a little bit more more outreach and collaboration to be done before it comes to council for approval.
Sure.
Thanks.
Any other comments of council? Emily?
Yeah, just so that it's clear to the public that this is just part of what's planned for Main Street, that we're also, as I understand it, looking internally so far in terms of what kind of directories we might be able to do in the future so that people in some way, we don't know what that's going to look like yet, but in some way can see when they get to the next block and they're walking along or whatever, that they can see what businesses are on that side of the block in that block. So you might say more about that than what I...
Yeah, I think it's part of the kind of sort of a collaborative approach, right, with a couple of different things to help guide motorists and pedestrians on Main Street. I mean, the feather flags too we have a new approach to that, but the feather flags will be there. And we sort of designed these banners to be complementary to that, right? And the biggest things that I sort of heard in those discussions was the delineation. I do hear from people pretty frequently on Main Street. They don't know what block they're on. They're walking around enjoying the shops and the restaurants and all of those things, but I think you do forget where you're at sometime, right? So we definitely took that into consideration regarding the feather flags or the street pole banners, because we really wanted to bring the bright colors, right, and sort of a bold design to kind of help people get a better understanding where they're at while they're on Main Street.
Rick, did you want to talk about the directories?
Yeah, the bigger picture is that we will have these banners that identify the blocks. We are working on a new website also for economic development that will, part of which will focus on downtown shopping and promoting downtown. The directory sign is a little bit of a different question. It's like, how do we want to accomplish what we want to accomplish for the price we have or the budget we have to do it? The goal is to have it so that people can be downtown and identify what they're looking for and where it is and help them get there. There are signs that allow you to do that, and there are signs that allow you to do that and actually track the number of people that are walking by so you can get pedestrian counts, that sort of a thing. Those are turning out to be pretty darn expensive, and we might be able to afford 2 in our entire community. And then the question is, where do you put it? Do you want something that's sophisticated? So are we going to go with something that's like a physical analog kind of a sign with nameplates that get swapped out? Are we going to come up with something that's QR code oriented, that refers people to the website, that gives them a map? These are all things that still need to be worked out, but when I started to dig into creating signs, it just snowballed into a lot of different options, but you want to get the right one. I don't want to spend money on something that's going to fall apart and have to be changed every 2 days by somebody. That's just going to cause problems and not be maintained. So yeah, there's a lot that's going into satisfying the other side of the feather flag discussion about getting people into the stores downtown.
Thank you, Rick. Amy?
Thanks. I would just, I guess, make the same request maybe at the front end on that one. If we could ask that you please start talking to the Main Street business owners now about what they would like to see and what they think would be the most helpful and useful with the block directories before we get too far down the path of actually having something ready for approval by council. That would be much appreciated. I know personally, for example, my cell service does not really work in downtown Canyon City.
There are dead spots.
So
yeah.
QR codes can be really challenging if then you're trying to get to a website from there. So just involving the folks who, spend all day, every day down there in those conversations from the start would be much appreciated. And along those lines, I think if it's okay with you, Mayor Troutman,
Go ahead.
there's another Main Street business owner in the audience who wasn't able to get here in time for to put in a slip before the meeting started.
Tim, did you like to, you haven't talked yet, it's your turn.
Yep. Hey, just real quick, I was going to basically go with what Amy said. I think it's super important to include our downtown businesses. And, from the beginning when we started this with the Feather Flag and we met with them, I think it is so important that the businesses, we can set policy and set the standards of what we want, but, they're the ones who deal with our consequences. And I think it is so important that we collaborate together. I think it is just the utmost importance. And then I have one other thing for Ryan on your designs. I see you put your animals and they're great, but I think you forgot Canyon City's most beloved animal on there right now, and that's the mule deer, because they're in everybody's yards in town, just to let you know.
This is supposed to be a positive experience.
Yes, ma'am. Would you introduce yourself and maybe the shop that you represent?
I am Pamela Simmons, and I represent Kaleidoscope Inspiration in the 600 block of Main Street. And I want to make a point. The word collaboration has been bandied about a lot here tonight throughout Ryan's presentation, and I think it's a great word. However, as a downtown business, we haven't seen a lot of it. Ryan, was my understanding, was supposed to be like the liaison for the downtown businesses and the government, and yet we don't see him. We don't see anybody. We see the banners. Now, that's great, but there was no collaboration. Nobody ever asked our opinion or our input. So how is collaboration happening if we're not a part of the conversation? We are the people that are on Main Street. We are the people interacting with the shoppers, the customer base, the community. So how is it that we're not brought to the table so that we can give some input? I think through the Feather Flag conversation that we had a while back, and I don't want to beat that dead horse, but to be honest, I walked away from that whole experience feeling very defeated. Like you guys had made up your mind that the feather flags were going to go away, and there was nothing we were going to do to change that. And that's fine. The feather flags are gone, But now you're putting in something else, saying, here, we've got this great solution and we're doing this with collaboration. Yet again, our voices aren't being heard. So that's just my input from a business owner on Main Street and a pretty successful and prominent business on Main Street. I feel like if you want to use the word collaboration, then you need to come and talk to us. Let us collaborate. Let us give you our input, and let us be a part of the conversation. So that's my 2 cents.
Would you rather not have those?
I'm not saying I'd rather not have those. I'm saying that you're at a point where you're asking for them to be approved, and nobody's asked or given us an opportunity to weigh in on it at any point. We had, this is basically the first time we've seen them. And so I think, again, you're talking collaboration, but you're not giving us the opportunity to collaborate.
What would you change?
What would I change? I would have maybe Ryan be downtown talking to the businesses, or I know Amy's good about coming in and talking to the business owners about what we want. I think that as our city council, we want more of a voice in what is happening. I'm not against these banners. I think they're a great idea. Maybe the design could have been tweaked, I don't know. It's hard to say when this is the first time I've seen them and I haven't had a chance to look at any other options. So I can't say I would change this or that. I'm saying we should have been brought to the table sooner in the conversation. I'm saying that as business owners downtown, if you want to talk collaboration, then you should stand by that word and what it truly means.
Okay. Any questions? Amy.
I was going to make a motion, but I think Kathy has a question.
Kathy.
I was just going to say, you weren't here earlier to know that we have the community arts meeting tomorrow night.
I did know it was tomorrow night.
Okay.
I wasn't able to get here right as the meeting was
No
starting
problem.
tonight,
I was
but
just
yeah.
going to say, in case you didn't know that, and, I will, as a newer member of that committee, I will take blame for it because I've been involved in some of the feather flag discussions and things that way. And we would love to have outside members come to that committee meeting and so forth. And I consider myself being amiss in having thought that sooner. So I apologize from my perspective on that.
And I think the frustration we as business owners have is the fact that the city just doesn't seem to give us a thought to have the opportunity to weigh in on any of these things.
Okay.
Like I said, it was my understanding when Ryan was hired, he was supposed to somehow be a liaison between the business owners of Canyon and the city. And yet, we don't see him. We don't see anybody. So we're kind of feeling not heard. That's, ultimately that's it. And again, I like the idea that we're defining the blocks. There's a lot I do like about the prospect of these. What I don't like is that it feels like another decision that's been made without our voices being the people on the ground in front of the customer base and the community, basically.
Okay, Emily.
Thanks, and thanks, Pamela. It's good to see you, and I enjoy shopping in your store. You see me in there from time to time. I'm trying to figure out, process-wise, what would work best, because we could send Ryan LeClaire or any one of us out and, try to make contact with every business owner, manager, whatever, up and down Main Street. But if we did it that way, then we're just getting individual comments. We're not benefiting from a back and forth among. So is there a better forum? Is there like a regular downtown merchants meeting that would be a better forum for this discussion?
The regular downtown members meeting, the Downtown Business Alliance, is kind of, it still exists, but it's not very active at this point. I think, you have all our emails. You have ways to communicate with us. Let us know, hey, we're looking for ideas to define the blocks. What is your input? Send out an email. Send out, make a special council meeting where we can all come as a group. We've done that before for a variety of things. In fact, when Ryan was hired, they brought together a lot of the downtown businesses to add their input to what that process should look like and who should or should not be a part of that discussion. So, it's happened before where we've been brought to the table as business owners. It could happen again. It's just a matter of making an effort. Or even, like I said, simply an email. Pretty much any business owner on Main Street is capable of being reached through an email.
Pam, we'll make a better effort of trying to reach out to you. We did have public meetings through the Public Art Committee, but we'll do better about reaching out to you because those are open to the public. They are open for comments, but we'll do better about reaching out and making sure that you're aware that those meetings are going on.
And as far as like the Public Art Committee, to me, that doesn't say that matters to me as a business owner. Public Art Committee, okay. That doesn't say, hey, they're designing things that are going to impact me as a business owner.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying we'll
Yeah.
we'll be better about communicating when there's something on there that may affect downtown businesses.
And I think that's really, as I speak for a lot of downtown businesses when I say, that's really all we're wanting is a voice to be heard. As business owners, it's hard for us to get to every single city council meeting. It's hard for us to, we have lives, we have businesses. It's, there's a lot. And to have to be monitoring every meeting that's out there is impossible, truly. So, if we could have some sort of heads up, it'd be appreciated.
Yep.
Okay.
We can do that.
Thank you. Aaron, did you want to add anything or?
She really said it a lot better than I did.
Okay, well, thanks for coming up.
I appreciate you coming in a little late, and that was very well put. That's, I just want to say again, kind of what she said. We can't check every agenda, and what's on the agenda is just street light pole banner recap and progress. I don't know if that's going to affect me or not, and we don't have time to just show up in case it does. But I just think that if you're designing something to benefit somebody, you should invite them to the conversation. That's all. I think that's basic, common sense.
Okay.
And especially since a lot of us were involved in the feather flag debates of 2024, then for sure that we'd want to be involved and reach out to some of us. We're not hard to contact.
Okay.
But thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Amy.
If there isn't any further questions or comments.
I would ask for a motion.
Wonderful. I'd like to make a motion that we table this until city staff has had an opportunity to reach out to downtown businesses on Main Street, solicit their input and advice on what is needed, and to ensure that, that there is that collaborative effort. And may I suggest that perhaps that would also be a great time to ask for input on the block directories.
I second.
Wait.
Hold on.
Jared.
I don't really want to table this. I don't believe that getting all the business owners downtown are going to come up with a better banner design. So if we move forward with the banner design, I think what's more important is the wayfinding on the corners. And that will be better influence from us downtown. Unless I'm missing something, but I think the banners look pretty good. So why would we put that off? Why don't we get that part of the process started?
I think that that my opinion on what the banners look like I'm not on the public art committee and I don't own a business downtown. So I would rather make sure that not just the two individuals who are able, or three, including Tammy, the three individuals who have, four including yourself, who have businesses on Main Street have an opportunity to weigh in, which I don't think that they really did on the substance of the banners, but that we've proactively reached out to all of the business owners on Main Street and give them all that opportunity to have their voices heard. And maybe the banners will look exactly the same, and it might take 2 weeks longer, but if the banners are there to benefit the businesses on Main Street primarily, I would rather take the extra couple of weeks and consider this in May, if that's all the time that's needed. If that means that their voices have a chance to be heard, maybe they look the same, maybe they don't. Maybe the Public Art Committee, who weren't all involved in those feather flag conversations, maybe they haven't taken into account everything that the businesses on Main Street need, and maybe the designs are tweaked, and maybe it comes back with something that's a little bit different. I'd rather take the extra time and make sure that we are doing it correctly.
I think you're overthinking this. There's only so much that you can go on that banner, and simpler is better. Like, we're just trying to tell people what block they're on. The more important part of this is going to be the whatever kind of signage we can put on the corners, that replaceable items that can show what shops are down here and this way and that way. From my perspective, we're going to lose the whole summer and we're not going to have any banners up.
I don't disagree with you that the block directories are definitely more important in terms of what is actually on each street. However, I could also, in the same way that, the Moe's Bear is on 3rd Street, so maybe it makes the most sense for that banner to be on 3rd Street. We've got the library, or we've got the museum that has the dinosaurs. Maybe it would make more sense to have the dinosaurs down a little bit further so that they could be wayfinding down there. I don't want to overthink this, Jerry, and I don't want to say what should go on each of the banners. All I'm trying to say is I don't think everybody who should have been consulted in this process was consulted yet. And I would rather have the partnership and I would rather have the collaboration.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate for the moment. I have already agreed that we probably should have done something a little better. But this, again, is just a phase. And this is like maybe phase 1, step 1 of what we're trying to do. And we did have experts on the art committee who are experts at design, color, and everything that way that did come up with these. And so I guess it's a little bit, other than the fact if they come up with something much more different than what has already been proposed, I'm not sure what we can do different on those banners.
Okay, this is going to go back and forth.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a comment real quick?
Yes.
Sir? Number one, the expense is under $6,500, so it doesn't necessarily need to come back to City Council for approval for the expense. Yeah, going to Councilmember Maloney's points, we do not want to miss the summer, but we also have some ability to go out and get some feedback and not necessarily bring it back to a City Council meeting. Would it be okay with council if we went out and did that public feedback and, take into account any possible changes and then move forward from there? If there's anything significant that changes, we can bring that back to City Council. But if things are more in the lines of light tweaks, we can move forward with those designs as tweaked.
I'm okay with that. I would just ask that the city also, 300 to 700, also make sure that you're including the voices from You know, on the 100 block, we've got Driftwood and Clay. On the 200 block, we've got Doritos. Like, also make sure that we're including everybody who's on our historic Main Street to make sure that we are including all of their voices, because I don't know if we are even targeting the right blocks.
So
But yeah,
what?
in principle.
Is this a vote? Is it a thumbs up? What is it?
So we have a motion and a second. And so I,
May I amend my motion?
that's a decision of the chair.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. I'd like to amend my motion to table this and enable city staff to go out and conduct the outreach and collaboration needed to ensure that the voices of our Main Street merchants are reflected in the banner designs. I would ask that they bring it back to City Council if significant changes that take it over the $6,500 mark come into factor, and I would also ask that we get an update at the next City Council meeting. Thank you.
Could you do just more of an update to actually bring it to a vote for next city council meeting? Put some time parameters on it, because this could be talked about forever.
Sure.
For the life of me, I don't understand. It's just colors. That's what people are looking at.
Sure. I'm happy to take your friendly amendment. I think City Administrator was hoping that we wouldn't have to bring it back at all, but I'm happy to bring it back to.
Okay, then the middle of May 15th, we want this done. Or before. Make up your mind and figure out what you're going to do, add stuff, delete stuff, whatever. My opinion, it's the colors. That's what sticks out. Nobody's going to read the rest of the stuff. It's on city property anyway. Do you want him just to make that decision when it comes in? So this is final and go ahead and do it? What do you want?
Is that feasible from your perspective to get it done by the mayor's deadline of May 15th?
Get what
Sorry.
done exactly? I'm
As far as
lost.
having a decision made and moving forward with the design, yes.
Great.
Okay.
Resecond.
Where are we at?
We're not tabling anything. No.
No.
What is the motion again? Are we still having to bring this back to?
I think we don't actually need anything. I don't think we need a motion. I don't think we need anything. The city administrator has
Have
direction.
direction.
So in other
Okay.
words, you're removing your motion.
I would like to remove my motion.
Okay, withdrawn. Thank you. All right, let's move on to C. Do I just go ahead and read the C? Or do
Yes.
you want to comment on it?
This is ordinance number 3, series of 2025 firearms ordinance. This is the second reading. Councilmember Tracy did send over a small typo that needed to be corrected. That has been corrected. I have not received any public comments regarding this ordinance, and open up to council for questions and discussion.
Did you want me to read the ordinance, or just, do we have to because it's a second reading?
No.
Okay.
We just,
Any comments of council?
for a motion.
Emily?
Didn't know if you wanted comments before or after a motion for approval on second reading. I'm not making that motion, but I have some comments.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and try to get a motion. A second then. Would someone like to try to do that? Tim?
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion to pass ordinance 3, series of 2025 on second reading.
Second.
Second, made and second. Any discussion on that motion? Would you call the roll, please?
I do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
pushing
And
my
you
dead
did say
button
that,
here.
didn't you? Go right ahead.
Yes, thank you. I spent a lot of time thinking about this since our last meeting, and I'm going to make a motion to amend the main motion, but let me just say why. I really think that we should go back to that original list of the specific city locations that can be, where we can prohibit the carrying of firearms. And then just as a reminder, I'll start by saying that our attorney has clarified that under the Supreme Court decision and under the new state law, that we can't distinguish between open carry and concealed carry, that we just don't have a legal way to do that. So that if we go ahead with our ordinance as presented, we are granting permission for people to open carry here in council chambers and in this building where the city administrator's office is and so forth. That original list, we have 4 things that we could opt out of, and the ordinance as it currently reads opts out of 3 out of these 4. And I'll just read what those 4 are. The chambers or galleries of the governing body where they are located, a meeting of the governing body where it is being conducted, the official office of any elected member of the governing body or of the chief executive officer of this government entity. And then the 4th one that we did write into this ordinance saying we don't want firearms there is at our municipal court. It says a courthouse or any other building or portion of a building used for court proceedings. And what I'm proposing as an amendment is just to go back and let us keep those sensitive areas, the ones that we're allowed to. And the reason I say that is I don't want to have to do what, I won't say who, but one member of this council, when we discussed this at committee, mentioned after that discussion that she had worn a bulletproof vest or something like that to the council meeting. And I'm thinking later, we don't want to have to do business that way. I don't want to see people open carrying out here in the audience. I don't want people to be intimidated from coming here and speaking to us if they're not comfortable with someone with a rifle slung over or whatever it is that the ordinance under its current form would allow them to do. So I'm suggesting that we make a change in the language of the ordinance. And I think it's a fairly simple change where we can, I'm looking for my notes, and of course I can't find them, but basically if you look at section 9.52.010, carrying firearms in certain buildings, rather than saying which we currently do, it says under its current writing, a person may carry and possess a firearm upon the following property or buildings, and then we list the 3 where so far we're saying yes, it's okay. Any chambers or galleries where the city council is located. Any building owned by the city in which an official meeting of the city council is currently taking place. And number 3, any building in which the official office of any elected member of the city council or city administrator is located. I'm suggesting that we remove that section A and move those itemized things down into B, where we would say a person commits a misdemeanor if a person knowingly and unlawfully carries and is in possession of a firearm in any courthouse or any other building or portion of a building used for court proceedings, and then comma, or, and then list out these 3 items, so that we take advantage of the limited thing that we can do as a city council, which is designate certain areas as sensitive areas where we don't want open carry. And again, we can't distinguish between open and concealed under this newer Supreme Court ruling and state law. So that's what I'm moving, that we amend and take out item A, but move items 1, 2, and 3 that are under A to follow what is currently under B. That's my motion.
Well, is that a motion, or are you adding, I don't understand. Tell me what we're doing here.
I'm making a motion to amend the main motion.
I'm not sure, from a procedural standpoint, Mayor, if you'd like to take to see if there's a second on that motion to amend. You currently have a motion, a second, and a motion to amend the original motion. So I think you need to take a second, but I need to clarify some statements as well. So
Do you want to clarify now, or should I ask for a second?
I think you should ask procedurally. Unfortunately, I think you should ask for a second.
Okay, I'm going to.
I'll second.
A second, Kathy, thank you.
All right, so actually you can distinguish between open and concealed. I think I gave the example that I had a client that actually did that. So you can absolutely distinguish between open and concealed.
I thought the written memo and our discussion last time said that we could not.
No, I think I've made it several comments that you could split it if you want. That being said, if you, the reason those are listed out is because SB 131, you're opting out. So if you want to move you don't need, you would actually take A and B probably out entirely. You may take that entire section out if you just move forward with what's under SB 131.
And does that matter that we're a home rule? It's still, we
Nope.
wouldn't have to have that language
Nothing to
at
do
all.
with home rule. Yeah.
I defer to our legal mind on how this should be worded, so.
Okay.
Same effect.
So what does that do on the second reading?
Well, you need to take a vote on the original motion, and then a vote on the motion to amend the motion.
Isn't
I
it the other
think-
way around?
I think it's the other
It's
way.
the other way around.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, you're kind of off the rails a little bit. It's just, yeah.
Why, you want to make a motion on what Emily say, taking all that stuff out in the courthouse, but also she's adding in the other places like City Hall, Administrator's Office and stuff like that. Is that what
She's
that is?
basically, I'll just summarize the motion, is not to opt out of SB 131. So all those 4 locations would be. Thank you.
Yeah, we wouldn't
By
need to
default.
specify any
By
one of them.
default, like under state law, yeah.
But that also allows it in parks, or doesn't allow it in parks, and
No,
Doesn't
those are
change
not
that.
sensitive spaces. All of that part of the ordinance still needs to remain in place to make you compliant with Bruin.
Right.
So it's just the 4 locations that, the courthouse, council chambers, where Ryan is, or council has their offices, and any building where there's an official meeting of city council taking place. So it's just those 4 locations we're talking.
so the motion has been made.
So I think Ryan's right. Take a vote on Emily's motion.
And,
Which is
and
basically to remove A and B.
Just to clarify, let's make sure we're all on the same. Basically, from my perspective, I am not thrilled about the idea of an open carry person coming into a council meeting. Whether right or wrong, whether they intend it or not, it can be construed as intimidation. And I do not want that. And so if I'm summarizing from my perspective, that's what I'm getting at by having seconded her motion.
Can I ask a question on that as far as the concealed carry then? Because we don't know it, and you can't say for protection because we don't have a metal detector at that door. So anybody can walk in here, whether they have a concealed carry permit or anything right now, if it's hidden. I've known many city council members in the past who have carried right up here on this dais, concealed.
Sure.
And I'll be honest with you, I would much rather be up here carrying concealed because there is no protection for us up here at all, 0. So, I mean, that's my opinion on it.
So basically, you're saying that what we're talking about is a moot point.
To me it is, yes. To me it is. But that's just my own personal opinion.
Except with open carry, if you're a citizen in the audience and you want your voice heard on an issue, and someone next to you is carrying a gun openly, you might be intimidated so that you wouldn't get up and speak your piece. That's the difference, I think.
Wow. Okay. I don't agree with that at all, but I don't get a vote. So, should we call the roll? Is that where we're at?
I think so, Mayor, on Emily's motion.
On Emily's motion, call the roll.
Councilmember Tracy's.
Okay.
Councilmember Dennehy.
Nay.
Councilmember Maloney.
I'm a little late to the game for discussion. I'm not quite clear on this motion. Can I just abstain right now from a vote?
I don't think you can abstain. You can, but then you can't come back and vote.
I don't think, so we've had a couple meetings on this, and then we all were in agreement, and now we're changing it. I don't disagree with the intimidation factor. I do agree with you guys, but I don't think we can take this step back and make this vote right now. So,
I think legally we can amend something on second reading unless our attorney tells us we cannot.
No, you can. Your charter allows you to.
my bigger problem is we had a whole audience here full of people that listened to what we talked about a few weeks ago, and we explained to them what we were doing, and now we're changing it.
So,
Well, now we have a vote. We have
If-
something on the table to change it, and that's where my uncomfortableness comes in.
if you vote yes, and the yeas
okay.
carry the day, then
Well,
any carry in here is prohibited.
based on just not, not going against what we said in the last meeting, I have to say nay, because I have to.
Councilmember Schmisher?
I think Jerry makes a really important point, especially when we reflect back on the earlier conversation that we just had about openness and transparency and collaboration. I also really do believe that acting as a quasi-judicial body, making decisions that affect property, due process, and individual rights, that we have a duty to ensure a calm, neutral, and non-intimidating environment. That's why federal law prohibits carrying in federal courthouses, and why I think we talked about prohibiting carrying in our courthouse. So I do think that I think that there's merit on both sides, and I think that transparency is important. So I will be voting no on moving forward on this at all this evening, because I think that additional conversation is needed. So I think that that means that I have to vote nay on this.
Can I ask another question if we're in the middle of this?
No, we're voting right now.
Okay.
Then you can ask it after that.
Councilmember Stein?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracy?
I will give you my vote in a second. I will just say that it was not a unanimous vote last time, that there were several of us who voted against it on first reading. So I wanted to clarify that.
Okay, there was two. Let's move on.
I'm voting aye in regard to my motion to amend.
Back to the first reading and start over with another
Councilmember Worthington?
Nay,
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Nay.
but I will now tell you the first, next.
So now we go back and vote on the original motion to approve.
Okay.
You can vote nay on this one. It takes
All
it
right,
back to
let's
Jerry's
have the
point.
discussion, or let's go ahead and ask for a motion on
We already have it.
Oh, the motion. All right.
So it's a vote.
I'm not too confused. All right. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Maloney?
Aye. Aye.
Schmisher?
This is the original.
So nay.
Nay? No, the original that I
Yeah.
did. I'm letting you know, the original that I did tonight.
To move forward on this on second reading.
On second reading.
And I'm
Oh,
voting no.
okay, okay.
Thank you, Tim, though I
Sorry.
really do appreciate it.
wasn't-
It has been a very confusing evening.
Councilmember Stein?
Nay.
Councilmember Tracy?
Nay.
Councilmember Worthington?
Nay,
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye. So, if I understand this correctly, Mr. Mayor, this proposed ordinance has failed on second reading. And so what I would suggest, a way to move forward is that we have a new ordinance brought back to us that prohibits open carry, but allows concealed carry in our sensitive places, except for the courthouse.
Okay, so can I repeat that back?
Sure.
Okay, so courthouse prohibited open and concealed?
Yes,
And then the other three locations is prohibited open, allowed concealed?
yes.
I do too, but that doesn't matter.
I just want to make sure that that's the consensus of council, or, that's what everybody wants to see come back.
Amy, did you want to add
Honestly,
something?
I think we need to have another just general conversation about it, because I think that there have been, I think that views have changed since the original general government meeting, because it seemed like, to Councilmember Maloney's point, in that original meeting, it seemed like we were all on the same page, and that is not the case anymore. And I think that rather than just bringing another ordinance back, I think that we maybe just add it to an already existing one that doesn't seem like it'll last the full hour. But I think it's worth another conversation about that to ensure that we all are all on the same page.
We think your charter requires for it to go back to committee anyway, because it'll be a new ordinance.
Even easier.
yeah, it's got to go back to discussion because we could not agree. All right, let's move on to D. This is an introduction on first reading by title only of Ordinance 4, Series 2025, entitled, "An Ordinance Approving One or More Loans from the Colorado Water Resources and Power Development Authority, CWRPDA, in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $7 million, authorizing the forms and execution of the loan agreements and governmental agency bonds to evidence such loans and prescribing other details in connection thereof." I would invite, Leo. Would Leo? Go ahead, Leo.
We will hand it over to Leo.
Again.
Thank you all for the long meeting. This is the ordinance we've discussed several times. We had a couple of special meetings on this at the very end of March. These are the loans that we're proposing to take that will finance the water main replacement portion of our last couple big 2A projects. So I think we've talked about it before. It's roughly $6.6 million in loans is kind of where we're projecting. The current terms that are available to us are 3.25% interest on a 20-year term, and of the $6.6 million, $1.5 million would be forgiven, so we'd be responsible to repay about $5.1 million of that. If the ordinance is approved first and second reading, we'd then have our 30-day referendum period. There's a loan agreement attached. The loan agreement would be executed after the referendum period. Is that correct, Catherine, I
That
believe?
is correct.
Okay, so it's attached for reference now, but that's not part of the consideration. It is the standard form from the bonding agency, but we could certainly negotiate or talk about any of the terms on there if there are questions about that, so.
Emily, go ahead.
I'm ready to make a motion on this, if
Oh.
that's okay. I move for approval of Ordinance 4, Series of 2025 on first reading.
Second.
Okay, made by Andrea?
Second.
Second, thank you. Any discussions on that motion? Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Dennehy. Councilmember Maloney.
Aye.
Schmisher.
Aye.
Stein.
Aye.
Tracy.
Aye.
Worthington.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Aye.
That's it. Sounds like that one passed. Okay. We then have our next scheduled regular city council meeting, May 5th, 2025, and we are adjourned.